Thank you, Mr. Van Marienboer. Now I'd like to bring up the third speaker for the opposition, Rebecca Lind.
Honourable Chairman, intellectually enlightened and very just jury, sadly misguided opposition, lovely upstanding teammates, and enduring and patient audience who've managed to survive through a whole debate and another half one so far. Good job. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. What we've heard so far from the proposition in this debate is a lot about, how Germany might improve France, how Germany has been so great to help Europe. And what we say is, well, if it's true that Germany is doing such a great job of helping Europe, we probably don't need France to emulate them because the Germans have probably got it covered, right? But what we haven't heard is any kind of real sort of specific examples of what exactly it is, apart from food, that the French might benefit from in terms of German culture. But let's look at a couple of the things that we have actually heard about. And one of those was this idea of sort of efficiency and bureaucracy. And I can tell you, as someone who's had to sit waiting for 5 hours at the Ausländer Behörde trying to apply for my residence visa, the German bureaucracy isn't actually all it's cracked up to be, right? And we think that often these stereotypes that get spread around aren't always true. But even if that was true, right, even if this efficiency was so great, we don't think that it would ever really fit in with the French culture, with the French way of life. Because we think that what it means to be French is something different. Like Matthias already told you, it's about being happy, it's about, valuing the good things in life. We say that we say that the French love their 35-hour working week, and if they wanted to emulate the German efficiency and economic productivity, they'd probably have to start spending a bit more time working and a bit less time drinking wine and eating French cheese. And we don't think that anyone would like to do that, right? And we think that's absolutely fantastic. We've told you already, right, the French people are happy because they have more sex than the German people. And since I'm told that the opposition are from an engineering university, maybe they don't quite understand that, but I think that speaks for itself. But what I want to bring to you today, ladies and gentlemen, is a little bit about what it means to be French, even though I obviously don't know personally, but what we think it means to be French and what French pride is about. Because we think that the French are a beautiful people, they're a wonderful people, well, for a start, they're all as tall and thin as the baguettes that they carry around on a daily basis. But it's not just about that. They've got a rich history and a lot of things to be proud of. So let's go through a couple. Firstly, and I'll take you in a moment, firstly, the French Revolution. And while we say, whilst that was over 200 years ago, we think that the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity are still valued unless you're with the monarchy. And then the only liberty you're going to get is to liberate your head from your shoulders. And if the last debate was anything to go by, we say that the revolutionary spirit is still well and truly alive and well, and we celebrate that. Please.
Yes, did you know that in the French Revolution, the guillotine was actually invented by an Englishman? Is that an example of us taking something from another country and making it our own?
Thank you, sir. I think it's very interesting that the guillotine was invented by an Englishman, but it was the French who used it and made it famous and made it part of their history. We don't think that we don't care who invented the accordion. We care about the fact that to play the accordion is part of the French culture. That's not really relevant to culture, right? Okay, Secondly, we say you were the first country to create a Declaration of Human Rights to protect, things like the right to freedom, the right to food, and not just red wine and cheese, right? And we think that that's also something to be proud of. Thirdly, we say you have a rich military history. Now, you may have been occupied 1 or 2 times, but you were on the winning side of both of the world wars. And as my recent visit to the Arc de Triomphe showed me, there seem to be a lot of places in which you've won battles, even if a lot of them seem to be very small towns that I've never heard of. Fourthly, we say that the French language is something that is a really, really great source of pride for your people. We think that's very evident because you all seem very reluctant to learn any other language, which makes it very difficult for an English speaker like me to try and order a coffee. But we say that you have, you know, a strong language, it's a diplomatic language, and you've been using it to resist the tyranny of the globalizing force of the English language, and we support that, and you should continue to do that. Now, what do we say about Germany? Well, the Germans also have a rich history and a rich culture, of course, but it's not always one that inspires the same sort of pride as the French one does. And we think that this pride is really important. It's really important to belonging. It's really important to be able to say that you are proud to be French. So why is it bad to be German? Well, the last person who suggested that France should become more German was Nicolas Sarkozy, and 6 months later he lost the election. And, well, I can only trust that this debate will go the same way. Because we say that to become more German is to compromise this French culture that I've just told you something about. We've told you that you should not want to copy German when there is still so much that is good about being French, still so much to be proud of, and that is why we oppose this motion.